Welcome into LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax. I am Max Bretos, and this is the show that gets you up close and personal for all things black and gold. LAFC head coach Steve Cherundolo has had a remarkable start to his coaching career. But regardless of where it's gone and where it's been, it pales in comparison to Steve Cherundolo, the player. Arguably the greatest right back the United States has ever produced, a lengthy professional career in Germany, multiple World Cups. Steve Cherundolo has done it, walked the walk, and now he's talking the talk on the sidelines. And we are going to go one-on-one with the LAFC coach, Steve Cherundolo. Steve Cherundolo, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Well, I was born in Rockford, Illinois. The family moved out to San Diego a couple of years later, and so I grew up in San Diego. Moved to college then, to the University of Portland for a couple of years before I found my way in Europe at the age of 19.
Nowadays there's more players are doing that. Back then it wasn't so often. How does a kid from San Diego at the University of Portland end up in the crosshairs of a German club and puts 2 decades of time in that place?
Yeah, so the German club is a little strange, and there is a story that I'll get to, but I grew up with English coaches. And their influence on me was pretty incredible and great. And I also went to the University of Portland, where Clive Charles was a coach, who had also obviously come from England, but had drawn a lot of his coaching from the English game. And so growing up with that and having gone over to England and got to watch EPL matches live was quite influential and kind of set the seed for later. I said, you know what, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to take it.
When did you know that you said, I'm comfortable here? This is a place I want to grow at and become an iconic player?
Well, I don't think there is that one moment. I do believe there are a lot of individual moments that lead up to that. And as a player, you kind of think from contract to contract. And at Hanover, it was the case for me. Whenever it came up to contract negotiations, I had a couple questions I needed to answer with yes, and that was, am I still developing as a player? Is the club still developing and moving forward as a club on the field, but also off the field financially? And then lastly, am I still happy as a human being there and growing as a person? And thankfully, I said yes to all those questions every single time the contractual extension came around. And that's how it became 15 years.
And you were able to start your coaching career a little bit there, but how did that set your platform or philosophy on how you view the game? Just that time that you were able to spend there?
Incredibly. I think we're all product of our environment and our environments. And I had some fantastic coaches. I had a couple rotten coaches, where I also learned some lessons and tools from how not to do things and things to kind of steer away from. But predominantly, the coaches I had were fantastic, and I still draw back from each one of them. And I wrote a journal as a player, or kept a journal, I should say, and looking back at those entries now is pretty fascinating.
You still have the journal?
I still do, yeah, I still do.
You pull that out and just think?
Every once in a while, yeah. I did recently pull an entry out and talked about it at one of the coaching conferences here in LA. And it's pretty cool to read, and I would recommend every player to do it.
You were selected for 3 World Cups. Yeah, you played in 2. What did it mean for you to represent your country and just being able to play at the showpiece event?
Yeah, it truly is the greatest show on earth. It's hard to describe what it's like. It's an impeccably run tournament. What it means, the experience for the players is phenomenal, and also to have your families there. I remember, I believe it was in Nuremberg, how we played Ghana, and I see my family like in the 6th or 7th row, warming up, super emotional. I don't know what to be excited to focus or to go hug them and shed a tear. So it really is a lot going on emotionally, and it's truly spectacular and a treat for every player who gets to enjoy that. So and it's worth every minute of sacrifice to get there.
Favorite moment from your international career?
Yeah, I think the game against Italy in Kaiserslautern, we tied 1-1. It had it all. Had a couple red cards, some amazing plays, emotions, a lot of American fans. I got to trade jerseys with one of my idols, so it had it all.
Who did you trade jerseys with?
Del Piero.
Oh, wow. Very nice. When did you know you wanted to be a coach?
I don't think there was, again, one moment, but I've always been fascinated with coaches and how they approach leading a group and how they get the most out of the group or do not get the most out of a group. I think if I wasn't a coach in sports, it would have been some sort of leadership role, maybe a teacher in elementary school or a PE teacher maybe, who knows.
You're still new at coaching, but you've had success at coaching, and I imagine you say, okay, this works. I will stand by this. But do you still catch yourself incorporating new ideas? You find something, you say, okay, this is something I may want to bring into what I want to implement.
Always. Always learning, always trying to improve, whether it's more technical work on the training pitch, new ideas, new drills. Constantly working with the other assistants, with Enrique, Mark, Oka, and Ante. What can we change? How can we get more out of the players? So it's a constant juggle of trying to include and gain more knowledge, include the new knowledge, and instill it upon your players, but hold on to the constants that make us good. And navigating that throughout an entire season with injuries, new players, all of that is fascinating. It's nonstop, and it's a roller coaster. Eventually, when you get fired as a coach, you get a little break to reflect. But until then, foot's on the pedal and we're going.
Coming up on LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax, we relive Adama Diomande's most iconic moments with the black and gold. LAFC Weekly is presented by Carmax, official used car retailer of LAFC. By BMO, official bank of LAFC. And by Pacific Office Automation. We have your office game plan. Welcome back to LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax. In 2018, LAFC were on the search of goals. Then head coach Bob Bradley, who had coached in Norway, had a relationship with one Adama Diomande, who had been prolific in that category. So Dio, as he was known, joined the club at the tail end of the inaugural season in 2018 and then exploded onto the scene in 2019, where he scored a lot of goals and scored a lot of important goals. Adama Diomande is this week's Call Jacob iconic player.
Dio looking for a sight line, brings it back, yeah! Adama Diomande, he's done it again, 5 games! Onside, K, Dio, yeah! Holy diver! Kovar underneath for Blessing, Dio! There's 3! Back across goal, K, Diomande! This time he won't be denied! LAFC have the lead. Every empty moment they had a Bender with the save. It's still there, and it's on the crossbar to go over the line. Making a little mistake from Jack Price. Diomande has made it 2-0. Diomande maybe to make it 3-0. He has, as easy as that. Vela, Dio! Holy diver! He is scoring goals for fun. His team search for a winner here. Oh, it's a lovely time by Diomande! Adama Diomande! What a moment for him! He's got Vela out wide. Vela's cross tapped in by Diomande. LAFC a 2-goal lead. Diomande slipped through. Diomande in chance. Rounds the keeper. Puts it in. second half. Second ball service, back inside for the Ewing, won't need him. Goal!
Diomande, oh! Took it early, took it beautifully.
Chips it wide to Dio. Open, good first touch shot. Goal, Diomande!
Rossi, so fleet of foot, Diomande's unmarked! That could be the decisive moment above all others. Diomande, gap opened up for him, all the way!
Coming up on LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax. LAFC defender Aaron Long takes us inside his journey to LAFC. Welcome back to LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax. Ahead of the 2023 season, free agent center back Aaron Long was in high demand, coveted by clubs here in Major League Soccer as well as overseas. In the end, the former New York Red Bull, who was once an MLS Defender of the Year, decided to come here to LAFC, his hometown club. It's a big part of what Aaron is all about. Very excited to be playing at home and weaving a new trail here with the black and gold. Here's this week's player profile, presented by Rockstar.
Hello, my name is Aaron Long, defender for LAFC. And I'm from Oak Hills, California. I began my professional career in 2014. I was coming out of college. I actually went to college nearby at UC Riverside, and I was drafted in 2014 after my senior season. College was good for me. UCR being in a market that I could go and make an impact early on. So freshman year I did well. Sophomore year, junior year, senior year, I was super excited and had big expectations. I had a really good year. The whole team had a pretty good year. And the main goal was to get into the MLS Super Draft. And at that time, no player in our history had gotten to the MLS Super Draft. And then I did not get invited. I had to go to all these MLS like side camps for teams to see me. So I was driving out. I think I went to one in Las Vegas. I flew to another one in Florida where there was going to be MLS scouts there so they could see me because I wasn't going to be at the Super Draft, to be able to give myself a chance to get drafted. Luckily, I was drafted in the second round. Portland Timbers drafted me, and I was there for 6 months until they had to make some roster moves and make some tweaks to things because the season wasn't going too well. I hadn't played any minutes there yet, so then once I was dropped, almost immediately Seattle Sounders signed me because they wanted to take me in the draft, but Portland took me first. I was at Seattle for 1.5 years until I went to New York Red Bulls, and then I originally signed for New York Red Bulls 2, played half the season there. My goal was just to make the first team and to get my MLS debut. That's all I was worried about. At the end of the day, that's every player's goal. If you're playing in USL, that's your goal. We ended up winning the USL Championship that year. I got USL Defender of the Year, and then the next year I moved into the first team as a starter. Since I moved here, life's been great. It's been amazing. I arrived here as a free agent. It was a pretty easy decision for me, knowing that my family was here and I could come home and have a special moment to play in my hometown for my home team, playing in front of these fans with my family in the crowd. And there's players all around the world that would do anything to go home and play for their hometown team and spend the time that I get to spend with my family. Outside of soccer, I don't have too many hobbies now that I'm a father. I come home from training and it's daddy daycare right away. Try to play with my kids a little bit, and then we do dinner time, and then we do bedtime routine, and that's kind of it. Before I had kids, I had a whole bunch of hobbies. I would hang out with my friends. I'd cook a lot. I played a lot of Fortnite, actually. Now that's all gone by the wayside. Match day rituals are pretty much the same. Wake up, have a high carb breakfast, have my coffee, try to chill out for most of the day, try to take a nap, and then when I wake up from my nap, I have chicken and pasta, and then I go to the game. Try to keep it really simple, something that's easy to replicate so that I can have my routine no matter what city I'm in. I had a favorite player, definitely growing up. Someone that I looked up to a lot was Carlos Bocanegra. He was a hometown kid. He's from this area. He would come back, and he was captaining the national team at the time, and would come back and would run Christmas camps, and I would go to them like 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up till I was like 14 years old. So I saw a lot of him in the off season. For him to be that close and know a guy personally, and he's captaining the national team and going to World Cups, it was crazy. It was cool. My goal was not to be on the national team or to represent the United States or to go to a World Cup, but for me it was more of a dream than a goal. The World Cup being in Qatar made it that much more memorable for us. It was such a unique location, and for us to have a home base in Qatar and the entire World Cup being almost in one city instead of in an entire nation, it was crazy. But the travel there was amazing. The way that the people, the Qatari people accepted us, and the hotel that we were at, like the whole experience was unbelievable. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Coming up on LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax, we relive LAFC's historic run to winning their second Supporters' Shield in just 5 seasons. LAFC Weekly is presented by Carmax, official used car retailer of LAFC, by BMO, official bank of LAFC, and by Auto Collision Group, official auto collision center of LAFC. Welcome back to LAFC Weekly, presented by Carmax. The Supporters' Shield is awarded to the MLS club that finishes with the most points at the end of the grueling 34-game regular season. It is tough sledding, but something that LAFC were able to accomplish back in 2019. By the end of 2022, the Supporters' Shield felt far away, so the club hired a new coach, got a lot of reinforcements to the roster, and all the ingredients were in place to pursue another one, which they were able to achieve. Their second Supporters' Shield is this week's Classic Club Moment, presented by Remitly.
Just up the road in Los Angeles, Steve Cherundolo has been named the new head coach of LAFC.
We do feel really strong that despite last year, we feel really good about the foundation that has been laid here. This club needs to deliver the success that our supporters and our city deserve. We thought Steve was the right guy to help us with that evolution to take us further into greater success in the years to come.
It's very easy to sum up in one sentence. We want to score goals. And we will continue to do that. We are attacking minded. We will also be well-rounded, proactive in all phases of the game. Whether we have the ball, we don't have the ball, we want to dictate what happens on the field.
5 years strong. LAFC going to kick off the 2022 season against Colorado Rapids, the defending Western Conference champions in the regular season. LAFC 3, Colorado Rapids 0 in the opener here of 2022.
It's important after preseason to start the season off with a win. This is one of hopefully many, and this is just the beginning of our journey.
Rodriguez, good skill, goes across, it's a leveler, right at the death, LAFC! Second bite, oh, Carlitos! Ilie Sanchez!
This team has character. They found themselves in preseason at some point. This group found a way to be a strong group, to be a family.
Giorgio Chiellini is set to join LAFC. Gareth Bale has agreed a deal to join LAFC.
We are attracting players in their prime who have options in Europe who are choosing to come here.
It's the game in Major League Soccer when these two teams meet.
For me, when I think of a team that has a higher ceiling, you have to imagine that that is LAFC.
A win in one of their next 2 games, including today, means they win the Supporters' Shield.
And with a goal of the utmost quality.
Dragging around a defender, 4 to the 6th shot, goal! Get in! LAFC have won the Supporters' Shield!
That is all the time we have for LAFC Weekly. Make sure you check out all the content coming out of LAFC and LAFC.com. Get yourself out to a game as well here in this new season. Until we meet again, this is Max Bretos saying, go black and gold.